I'll tell you what, I don't know how many videos we're going to have to make about this bloody Harry Kane saga. I'm just so tired and bored of it all, quite frankly. It's mind-numbing. I've tried to stay off of social media today after I saw the news breaking this morning that Tottenham have reached agreement with Bayern Munich on a deal and all the rest of it. And it's now up to Kane to make a decision and all this kind of stuff. And then the ongoing arguments between pundits, ex-players, fans of other clubs. Every man and his dog has an opinion and wants to share it. And I guess that includes me, because I'm sitting here talking about it now, which is frustrating for me, because after the other day of putting a video out saying he's going nowhere, they've turned down the offer and all the rest of it, now you look like a complete twonk because actually they've made another offer and it's been accepted. And the reality is, none of us really know. We don't know. I don't know whether it's true, whether it's not true, whether this has been going on for a long time or whatever. You honestly don't know. All you're doing is surmising and making something out of the story to try to convince yourself one way or the other. The reality is, if Harry Kane leaves, and it's an if, then Tottenham Hotspur will still be there. I'll still support them, you'll still support them, we'll still go to the games, and we'll move on from it in time. We will be absolutely livid about it, gutted about it, because he is the best thing that's happened to Tottenham for a very long time. And I think Daniel Levy was very lucky that it happened for Kane when it did. Otherwise, we could have been scrambling around trying to find a goal scorer for the last sort of, 5 or 6 years, whatever it is. Because let's face it, we weren't getting anywhere. We brought in Janssen, we had Pavlyuchenko, all these different people that we've tried, and it's just not worked. And Harry Kane has stepped up to the plate and done the business. And not just as a striker, but as a playmaker, as a defender at times. The guy's been everywhere. For me, he's an all-round player who we just really can't afford to lose. But the club will go on. So whatever happens is going to happen. But I guess there's a few scenarios you can kind of look at. And let's put it this way. What if the agreement with Bayern Munich is based on the fact of the club saying to Harry Kane, look, we don't want to lose you for free. So we've got no choice but to accept this offer because it's a really good offer. But if you want to stay, we want you to stay. We'll give you a new contract. But we're in a position where we can't just afford to let you go for free. So if your intention is to stay with us, we'll turn down this offer. We'll tell them to stick it because you're worth more than £100 million or euros to us. So that puts the ball into Harry Kane's court to say, look, I do want to stay, but this is what I need from you. Now, I don't think this is about money. When these guys are earning £100,000, £150,000, £200,000 a week wages, going to these other clubs for more money or getting a more bumper contract isn't really the point. Harry Kane probably makes as much money out of endorsements as he does out of his wages. So whatever you think he's earning, he's probably getting double, 3 times that in all the other stuff that he does. So I don't think this is about money. This is about wanting to achieve as much as you can achieve in your career and getting the kudos that you deserve. Now, let's be honest. If he goes and wins the Bundesliga, all the other fans of all the clubs around the world will go, oh yeah, but it's just the Bundesliga. Who gives a shit? I saw it, someone tweeted about today, yeah, everyone who remembers, Alan McInally and his Bundesliga title. Well, there'll be people on here that'll go, Alan McInally, who's that? Well, exactly. So not a legend of the game, but if you've watched Soccer Saturday in the past, you may well know he is ex-Villa player and all the rest of it. But that's his big achievement. Now, that's a big thing for him, and he's probably really proud of it. His family are probably really proud of it. But ultimately, in the overall standing as a fan, it means next to naff all. So the only way this will ever be considered a success for Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich is if he goes there and wins the Champions League, which granted he's got more chance of doing than he has at Tottenham, but then he's got more chance of doing that at, I don't know, one of the big Italian teams or Real Madrid or so there's other options out there, bigger clubs. And I'm not saying Bayern Munich aren't a big club because they are massive. I absolutely don't think they come out of this with any credibility at all. The way they've behaved has been absolutely appalling. But that's what some of these clubs do. Real Madrid did it constantly over the Bale situation, and you'll kind of sit there. And Tottenham are absolutely notorious for telling you nothing. So as a fan, we sit here with no news at all. In fact, my phone's just gone off to tell me that Joe Rodon's gone to Leeds. Great. Thanks for letting me know that. I'm really interested. I'm really bothered about it. Come on. This is the ridiculous thing about it. So if you're on any other kind of social medias, TikTok and all those kind of things, there's a thing going around that someone sent me with Jamie Carragher talking about it. And I actually mentioned this on a podcast some time ago, and he mentioned it as well. When Alan Shearer was asked a simple question, Premier League title with Blackburn or all-time goal scorer record? No prizes for guessing which he chose. Of course, all-time goal scoring record. He's lived off of that since he retired. He's a legend of the game because he did that, because he's the best goal scorer in the Premier League. So what about the title? He won one title. Doesn't make him a legend because he did that, right? It's about what you do as your legacy. And Rio Ferdinand and all these other people can tweet about, it's about collective medals and all that. It's not. Of course it's not. Don't talk bollocks. You're just keen. And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why. All these people that want Harry Kane to leave Tottenham and go to Bayern Munich, Man United, or whoever else they want him to go to, it's because they don't want him to be at Tottenham. They want to be able to say what a great player he is, but they can't say it because he's at Tottenham. And I just think, it's absolutely ridiculous. And people saying it's a lot of money for a bloke in his 30s who has a year left on his contract. No, it's not. Of course it's not. When you're paying £100 million for players like Grealish and players like Rice, you cannot tell me that Rice is worth more money than Harry Kane. I'm sorry. You just cannot tell me. You will not convince me. And I think Rice is a good player, right? And I think he's a great acquisition for them down the road. But in terms of what he does, as opposed to what Harry Kane does, there is no comparison. And all these other people talking about, we can't afford to let him go for free, because if he goes for free, he could go to Chelsea, he could go to Man United, and we don't want to see that, do we? Hold on. He could go to Germany. He could sign a 3-year contract there. He could finish there, come back, and still end up going to Chelsea or Man United. Just because he might not go to them now doesn't mean to say he wouldn't go to them in the future. That's his decision. That's his choice. It just makes it easier for him to go from Bayern Munich to Chelsea than it does from Tottenham to Chelsea. Because by then maybe we'd have gotten over it and moved on with our feelings, because we'll have a different hero to chant about, to cheer on, to support, to love. So, get out of it. And again, this other thing that really bothers me is all these people saying, if we got all that money, we can invest it back in the team and blah. What's the point? You're going to have your main player, the best player, or one of the best players in the Premier League, by the way, gone from your team. He is irreplaceable. You're talking about £94 million, but you've got to replace him with a striker somewhere. Because is Richarlison going to do it? Doesn't seem like he is at the moment. Dane Scarlett, is he going to do it? Bit early. This new kid, an 18, 19-year-old, is he going to do it? Come on, you've got to have a goal scorer. You've got to have someone who's going to sit up there and score the goals. So don't tell me you're going to take £94 million and then just automatically put that into someone else who's going to be just as good and give you just as much. You're not. It's just absolute nonsense. So I honestly, I'm just fed up with hearing about it. How I feel at the moment now is, if Harry Kane wants to go, go. Do I wish him well? Not really. Not really. He's done what he needed to do for the club. I've loved him. I've supported him and all the rest of it. But once he's left Tottenham, it's immaterial what he does for me. I'm not bothered. If he goes on and wins the Bundesliga, oh, wow, big deal. If he wins the Champions League, fair play. He's got himself a decent medal. But ultimately, he'll be the guy who left us when we needed him. It was exactly the same with Berbatov. It was exactly the same with Teddy Sheringham. It's exactly the same with Bow. You know, these guys, they come and they go. You know, if we get rid of them, that's one thing. If they want to go for their own personal benefits, then that's different. And listen, before anyone starts jumping up and down saying it's all Levy's fault and you should blame Levy and all the rest of it, I absolutely do blame Daniel Levy. Because if Daniel Levy had invested in the right way and pushed us on like we were always hoping he was going to do, then we wouldn't be in this situation. But at the same time, like I've said previously, Harry Kane has to take some responsibility. He's been in a Champions League final. He's been in League Cup final. He's been in semi-finals. He's had opportunity to get those medals with Tottenham. So, you know, let's get it right. Ultimately, let's get it right. You know, there's a collective responsibility all around this. And I am absolutely no Daniel Levy fan. Not at all. Great businessman, done a lot for the club, brought it forward, great stadium. Who cares? I'm not interested in any of that. I am interested in Tottenham Hotspur, men's football club, winning trophies, challenging and playing good football. That's what I'm interested in. And now we've got a manager who may well just play to Harry Kane's strengths of giving him loads and loads of opportunity. He loses his best asset. But listen, I'm sure Postecoglou will move on. He'll move on. He'll do what he needs to do. He'll work with what's in front of him, because that's what you do. And maybe Dane Scarlett comes good. Maybe Dane Scarlett starts banging them in for fun, and we get our next Harry Kane. Maybe Harry Kane goes to Germany and Borussia Dortmund win the Bundesliga or something. And he, you know, you just don't know. It is what it is. But I just couldn't help myself. I had to rant. I had to have this say about how I feel about it, even though it's driving me mad. The constant moaning, fighting, bickering, and all that kind of stuff that you see across social media. And the trouble is with social media is you can't bloody get away from it. If I'm not reading it, someone's sending it to me. So I can't bloody get away from it. I don't watch Sky Sports News. I don't listen to Talk Sport, not when I'm at home anyway. I only sort of listen to that if I'm travelling maybe. So I try to stay out of it as much as I can. But until it happens, until he's holding up the shirt for Bayern Munich, or until he's putting out a statement that says, I want to go to Bayern Munich, then ultimately you've got to just go with lots and lots of clickbait. Everyone's trying to get their views up and all the rest of it. So, you know, we'll wait and see what happens and try to stay calm and all the rest of it. Will I be disappointed when he's gone? Absolutely, but it will happen one day. I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay. I feel that he's got more opportunity to provide for this club and get us somewhere than going off to Bayern Munich. But of course, at the end of the day, it's Harry Kane's decision. If Levy has accepted an offer and said to Harry, look, make a decision. What do you want to do? If you're happy to stay, sign a new deal. If you want to stay with Tottenham, we're happy to keep you. Absolutely, we'll give you a bumper payday, which again, I don't think it's about that, then we'll stay. But the biggest problem is, for me, all of this comes back to the media constant pressure on this guy to go away and feel like he's achieved something. Otherwise, he's never going to be considered one of the best, which is such nonsense when you look at all the people that have won Premier League medals, all the people that have won FA Cups, all the people that have won League Cups and Champions Leagues and all the rest of it. I guarantee you there's only a small amount of those players that will ever be considered top players, legends of the game. I guarantee you. Google them. Google all the people that have won a Premier League medal, and you have a count up out of all of the players that have got those medals. How many of them would you personally consider a legend of the game, of the status of someone like Harry Kane? And ultimately, it is what it is. But that's my view. That's my opinion. And hopefully some of you will agree with me. I'm sure there'll be people that don't. But listen, it's all about opinions. You're entitled to yours. I'm entitled to mine. I never criticise you for having an opinion. You can voice it. You can write it in the comments section, which is always open. I'd never ever block a comment. I let them be what they are, and I read all of them, and I do respond where I feel appropriate. But listen, as always, I've rambled on. This video is quite long, so you might have to have a good long poo or watch it over a couple of different poos over a couple of days. That's up to you. But as I've said before, because apparently it helps the algorithm and all the rest of it, if you agree with what I'm saying or you like what I'm saying, give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow, please do subscribe to the channel. That's great, because then you'll know if I'm rambling on again. I will be doing videos fairly regularly, because I'm obviously going to the games and reviewing them and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support that you guys have put in. Subscriber count's gone up quite a bit, and that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside and loved. I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. Up the Spurs.